It is the evening of September 11th, 2021. I'm going to talk a little bit about Neptune, but this isn't just for astrologers, so please bear with me. I wish I could record my brain because I'm afraid that, or concerned that I won't be able to express all of these things that have been going through my head so clearly in the past while. One of the things I want to talk about is the multidimensionality of reality. And the desire to do that was triggered by an astrologer I was listening to talking about Neptune. And again, this way that Neptune is portrayed as being malefic or all about deceit and self-deceit or deceit by others or distortion and illusion and fantasy. And this is something that I find commonly expressed in astrological circles. Well, I myself have had some of my most profound and meaningful experiences of my entire life under significant Neptune transits. And so this irks me because I believe it puts fear into people. And of course, how you experience the effects of a Neptune transit kind of depend a little bit about on your level of consciousness. And so, to give you an example, this spring I went through a very challenging experience with somebody that I really deeply cared about and had a tremendous amount of empathy for. And by the way, I've been working all day. I'm filthy. I'm covered in drywall dust. I've got drywall dust in my lungs. I need to shower and stuff, but I really wanted to express this right now just because it's so up for me. So back to my story. I went through this very difficult, challenging experience with somebody, like I said, that I care deeply about and I have a tremendous amount of empathy for. And my solar plexus chakra and even my guides were kind of screaming at me like, this is not a good situation. You probably don't want to be doing this. Perhaps you're being deceived or something like that. But this was a person who, has certain issues that have been longstanding. And I felt like I was in a position to help this person. So I devoted a tremendous amount of time and energy to trying to help this person overcome some of these challenges. And at one point, we made a tremendous amount of success, historic success. The point is that at times when I went into a state of deep meditation, I connected to some energy on a higher level, higher than my guides, deeper level. And the input that they were giving me was to just love this person unconditionally, that it would be good for my heart, chills, and good for my soul and good for me karmically as well. And of course, I didn't do this. I wasn't doing this for this person to get karmic rewards. That if that was a benefit, it was very much on the fringes of my mind, not very distant. But the point was that to be self-sacrificing and to be dedicated to healing somebody that you love and loving someone unconditionally was the point of that experience. Now, other people may have experiences in their lives where they are doing things that other people might consider, say, for example, a lost cause. And other people might look at them and say, it might be occurring during a Neptune transit. It wouldn't be surprising. What matters is what's in your heart and what your intentions are. The spirit doesn't really care, what kind of car you drive, or probably not even care very much about what you do for a living unless your living is a calling of some sort. The work that you do is some kind of calling for the betterment of society or something like that. On the spiritual dimensions, all that really matters is our intentions. So, this also can be, this kind of line of thought can apply as well to other situations that you find yourself in. People might find themselves in losing situations. Or God forbid, maybe, somebody's going through an experience where they lose everything. And other people would look at them and say like, oh my God, this is so terrible. They have bad karma, or they, what did you do in a past lifetime to deserve, to suffer in this way, or to lose everything, all these material things. Well, maybe that's the most important lesson for that soul to learn at this point in time. Maybe they chose to learn that before they even incarnated here. I'm going to go down there, I'm going to become really rich and successful, and then I'm going to lose everything just so that I can have the experience of that, so that I will become aware that I am not, my identity is not what I own, or my status, or my status in society, or the possessions that I have, or the car that I drive, or the people that I associate with, or whatever. So we are constantly, I see this being reflected to me all the time, and even in the spiritual community, people are always judging themselves and discriminating about, what's good or bad. I want a better job, I want a better boyfriend, I want a better girlfriend, I want to meet my soulmate, whatever it is, right? And they're not happy until they attain or achieve whatever that status is. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be happy, but what I'm saying is that, our soul has an agenda that is kind of different from the human one. And the human one is all about this reality that we inhabit is incredibly stupid. Like, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, there shouldn't be any poverty. Like, there's more than enough food on the entire planet to feed everybody. We shouldn't be destroying our planetary biosphere. It's completely idiotic, right? Our form of capitalism is dumb. The whole thing is just incredibly stupid, right? So on the one hand, we want to revolutionize it and change it. And on the other, we're feeding that paradigm because we believe in it and we buy into it. And a lot of us, have these desires to attain some level of status or achievement or comfort or whatever it is, so that we will feel better and then, quote unquote, be happy, right? Which is almost never actually happens, because there's a lot of unhappy billionaires out there. So, if we want to change that paradigm, we have to just completely, probably just abandon it and throw it away and go like, wait a minute, why are we really here? We came here to learn experiences that are going to forward our evolution in spiritual terms, right? Those of us who at least have this awareness that spirituality is a thing, and it really is, it's driving everyone's experience and everyone's reality, whether they're aware of it or not. There are those who do not know that they do not know. There are those who know that they do not know. There are those who know that they do not know. Did I already say that? Yes. And then there are those who know that they know, right? And, it's like all a continuum. And so I see this, there's this material paradigm that largely is this construct that we live within, and that makes absolutely no sense. And we're all still sort of buying into it, even though it's like literally destroying the entire planet that we call home. And it's our only home. We can't just all escape to Mars or something stupid like that. That's just fantasy, right? So there's nothing about this reality that is worth preserving unless you're a billionaire. But even then, if you went into their hearts, you would probably find that the last thing that they want to do is have like hundreds of millions of people starving or being climate migrants or whatever, right? None of it makes any sense. So, if we find ourselves in situations that are challenging, we should really reflect on, what is this experience showing me? And because typically what it is, it's showing you where you do not love yourself. It's mirroring back to you so that you will learn where you are not expressing your full potential on a soul level. And that is divine unconditional love, ultimately, right? So, as we come down from the higher dimensions of reality, that energy gets more and more and more distorted the further down you go. Right? And down here, for the most part, it's quite distorted because, like I said, none of this makes any sense. And that was the main point I wanted to make. I just also wanted, let me think, did I did I express what I wanted to express about Neptune? Yeah, like Neptune is not about illusions and fantasy and, drug addiction and whatever. It's on its highest level, it's about dematerialization, which is deconstructing all of the crap that I was just been talking about, right? It's the realization that this is a stage, we are here, this is all an illusion, and none of it like really matters. I mean, yeah, I mean, I care about stuff. I care about the planet. I care about it. It drives me crazy that people are suffering needlessly and being idiots, because there's a lot of people just being completely idiotic. But that is the point of Neptune and Pisces, right? So, and the 12th house, right? Just letting go of all of these false and limiting beliefs. And, before I started recording this, I asked for assistance to express myself because I was concerned. What goes on in my head is like extremely complex and very deep, and it'll probably take. I mean, maybe after I do this for a while, I will be able to express myself more clearly and articulately. And what came to my mind was the song, "What the World Needs Now Is Love, Sweet Love." That's the only thing that there's just too little of. That's what we need, right? This is truth. I had a very profound experience many years ago, where I got that, right? That that we need to stop identifying with the illusion, the maya, the fantasy. That's the feedback loop that keeps us on the karmic cycle, is those false beliefs and attachments, the belief that all of this stuff that we're programmed to believe, and that the media and that the world is constantly putting in our faces, like like, for example, there's a very large country that's a very becoming increasingly powerful, where we outsource a lot of our production and we consume tons of their products and raw materials, and in effect we're basically financing them, and they've become increasingly draconian. Like, I mean, who would want to live in a society where they tell you what you can think? It's incredibly Orwellian. And yet all of Europe and North America and Australia, all of the countries that are rich are basically pouring money into this state constantly every day. They also happen to be like a major polluter. And so we're essentially financing our own kind of destruction, right? This is how crazy everything is. Like, we don't take into account things that actually matter and that value for the long term. What we should be doing is considering what people are going to be experiencing 6 generations, 7 generations from now. That's our karma, right? We have to be responsible, and we have to care for the future and for each other, and especially the children, and especially those who are in need. There's absolutely not one rational iota of sense or necessity for anyone on this planet to lack education, food, shelter, or health care. Like, it's this paradigm, like, it has to go. And so those of us who are incarnated here as light workers, we need to put an end to that. We stop reinforcing that paradigm. It's completely defunct. It's completely corrupt. It has to stop. So we should, I think, have, in my opinion, hold this awareness. Like, I will do another video on, or spiel or podcast on, I just spent a year living kind of off-grid in an extremely simple situation. And it was incredible. We don't need a lot of stuff to have amazing experiences and lives. And I'll do that because it's on my list. I actually, before I started this channel, I was a little concerned about what I would talk about. And I now have, I'm very organized, so I have this, I'm a quite disciplined person in many ways, but so I have this list on my phone, an app that synchronizes my list around my devices, to-do list. And I now have like over 30 items in there of things that I want to talk about, like within, most of them came up within the first few hours of doing something. There's a really interesting phenomenon around manifestation where, where in the 3D reality, we take a step or we make a commitment, we do something, we commit to something through action, like literal action, and then the universe supports you and it flows. So, just sitting there and thinking about something or contemplating something, you need to actually take a step into action for things to start manifesting, because the universe, I don't know why exactly, but I've noticed this throughout my life. As soon as you step into something, it's drywall dust, excuse me, that's when the energy will start flowing. There's something, it's like a rule of some kind that I don't quite understand, but anyway. So anyway, that was my main point, I think, about, it bugs me because I even see it in the spiritual community, maybe, don't do something or in the astrological community, don't do this because it's not good for you, or it's not going to get you what you want, right? Well, how do you know what you want, right? You don't have a clue. You have your little puny little brain, and the universe is like infinitely vast, and the creator has we don't even if we're not even a grain of sand, right? And it's just, it bugs me. So I wanted to make the point that, follow your heart and be careful of who you listen to. Because I have received an awful lot of what I would call conflicting guidance from different sources. It kind of depends on the source, whether it's a reader or, your guides or some ascended masters that you're communicating with or whatever. There's different perspectives on certain situations. And ultimately, I think if you're finding yourself in a difficult situation and you're wondering why, like I said, reflect on it and love it. If you want to stop experiencing that, love it, love yourself and love it. Whatever it is that is coming up for you, that it's mirroring for you, that it's triggering you, that's how you will change that. Anyway, I'm probably rambling too much now. I will stop this here at 18 minutes.